Hello and welcome everyone. This is Ravi, and today I'll be talking about how to choose the right grad school when applying for your applications to schools in the United States. Firstly, I'll be talking about the problems of choosing a grad school. And one of the major problems is there are like a lot of good grad schools one needs to choose from, and how do we choose the right one, right? There are a few parameters that you can think about for solving this problem. Essentially, the cost of living, the cost of the tuition fee of that school is definitely one important parameter. The others are kind of the probability of acceptance of your application in that grad school, the department's profile, so the kind of courses, the kind of professors, kind of students in the department, the city life, the placements, and the college life are also other important aspects that you would want to consider. Starting off with just cost, y- the most important thing to consider is whether the university is a government funded university like UT Austin or like Massachusetts Institute of Technology versus whether it's a private institute like uh, Stanford or Carnegie Mellon. Right. The other aspect is to think about scholarships and TAships. So, if a lot of private universities, for example, the one that I went to, namely Princeton, has does give you scholarships, and also they also offer you some of the schools also offer you TAships, and these usually tend to give you uh, enough resources so that your tuition fee is covered, and the only expense that remains is usually your living expenses, which amounts to something that is very manageable. The probability of acceptance is another important aspect. So, the way I would think about trying to solve for this is essentially bucketizing schools into ambitious, moderate, and safe universities. So, ambitious universities would be the universities that are very, very hard for you to get in. Moderate would be the ones that you could or may not be able to get in. Safe, which you would consider with a very high probability that you would get in, and picking schools where you have seen very similar students from your profile get in. So, students from the same school as you, or students with the same profile but from different schools as you, are usually good candidates to be picked up. The other aspect is department. So, check out the professors, the kind of courses that the university offers, as well as uh, the other students, the profile of the other students that are there in that particular department as an important aspect of choosing the graduate school. I would also recommend researching upfront in advance, say by 3 or 4 months, to be able to understand what schools you want to pick up. You can also use some of the resources like US News, which has a good catalog on different schools, the kind of costs involved, the kind of acceptance rates, and comparatives across different years. And just doing that research can be a useful thing as well, and could improve your probability of going to a good grad school, right? In my own experience, I tended to divide the schools into PhD and master schools. So, schools that were very difficult to get in but had a very good department, I wanted there to be in my PhD list. But there were certain other schools like UT Austin, or there were other schools that had were expensive, like Stanford. I only wanted to get there for masters and not go for a PhD there. Researched on profiles of accepted students as well. So that was another thing that I did upfront, so that I was able to gauge my own level as well as compared to the level of what the universities usually tend to accept, and be and see if they fall in the same ballpark or not. I also did a lot of upfront research on the professor's areas of interest and ensured that whatever areas of interest I had, they did align with the professors, so that would make the professors more inclined in taking me, and also you can strike a good balance when working with them. I applied to 10 universities. I tended to divide it into 30, 40, 30 buckets, basically three ambitious, four moderate, and three safe. I also did multiple iterations on selecting schools. That meant I took an initial batch of 15 schools, then reduced it to 12, and then probably reduced it to 10. That way, it really gave me a good understanding of what schools I was going for and what were my chances in those schools. And also figured out schools with such scholarships, especially if those were private schools, figured out if they offered scholarships or TAships. Otherwise, it would have been very, very difficult for me to kind of get into those schools. So those are some of the tips and tricks that you can kind of use. If you have other questions, please do ask me in the comment sections, or you can even email me. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope that this really helps you out and you have a better and a bright future ahead. Thank you.